February 26, 2021. The first order, I think I would actually do a roll call first, but I also need to read this order from the state of New Hampshire. So I'm Valerie Shelton, and as chair of the planning board this evening, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12 pursuant to executive order 2020-04, body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is also a physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting at the Newmarket Town Hall Auditorium. In accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are A, providing public access to the meeting in person and by telephone with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. We are utilizing Zoom for the electronic meeting. All members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through this platform, and the public has access to, I hate that word, contemporaneously listen, and if necessary, participate in this meeting through the following website: https://ZOOM/US/J as in John /95527181105, or by phone at 1-646-558-8656, and the password is 955-271-8105. Also to be aired on Newmarket Channel 13 for those wishing to watch on their TV, and it is streaming at www.newmarketnh.gov/channel13. B, we are providing public notice of the necessary information for accessing the meeting, and we previously gave notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting, including how to access the meeting telephonically. Instructions have also been provided on the website of the board at www.newmarket.gov/planning-board. We are also providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anyone has a problem, please call 603-659-3617, extension 1321, or email channel13@newmarketnh.gov. We will also be adjourning the meeting if the public is unable to access the meeting, and then we will reschedule. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. So I'm going to start with the roll call attendance, and I would like each member to state their presence. Please also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during this meeting, which is under the right to know law. Again, my name is Valerie Shelton, and I am alone in my office. Eric Boderman. Eric is excused. William Doucette. Mr. Doucette is excused. Jane Ford.
Present and alone.
Jamie Bruton. Jamie, I need you to unmute.
Yeah. Just got the mute. I am present. My son is in the room with me. I don't know if that's a problem.
Nope, just need to know.
Yep.
Sarah Finch.
Present and alone.
You. Mikhail Zahorik.
Present and alone.
Ted Howard.
He's no longer on the board.
Oh, where am I looking here? I'm going
Right.
down. Who am I missing? Scott Blackstone.
Present and alone.
Oh, sorry, Ted Seeley.
Yes, present and alone.
Sorry about that. Okay. And Ted and Mikhail, I will appoint you this evening for any voting for Bill and Eric.
And Tony is here. Did you mention?
Sorry,
her?
Tony, I missed right over you. You're an alternate, right?
I am, yeah, an alternate. So I won't be voting tonight, but I am present and alone.
Okay, so the board is here and our town representative is Scott. for The hearing. Okay, first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. If anyone will still please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If there are any public comments, Tim, is there anyone from the public at the town hall? If anyone is at the town hall, there's a microphone there. Please come and just state your name if there's any public comments. Okay, hearing none, I'll close the public, or anyone on Zoom? Everyone's here for the application. Okay, I'll close the public comments. Review and approval of minutes. The December 8th meeting minutes. Any members have any comments? Any corrections? If not, can I get a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Motion by second. Jane, are you seconding that motion?
Yes.
It's seconded by Jane Ford. Any further discussion? Seeing none? Do a roll call vote. Jane,
Approved.
Jamie,
Approved.
Sarah,
Approved.
Mikkel,
Aye.
Ted,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
and I vote aye, motion carries. Approval of the December 22nd, 2020 meeting minutes. Any discussion? Corrections? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Motion by Scott. Is there a second?
It's Jane, I'll second it.
Seconded by Jane. Roll call vote. Jane Ford,
Approved.
Jamie Boutron,
Approved.
Sarah Finch.
I was not present.
Okay.
Aye.
Ted Seeley,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
and Val Shelton, aye. Next order of business is an application by Rob McInnes of Seacoast Pool Plastering LLC for a design review hearing on an application for property located at 446 and 450 Wadley Falls Road in Newmarket, New Hampshire. Tax map R6, lot 50-7 and lot 50-8, which is in the B3 zone. The proposal is to construct a 6,000 square foot office warehousing building and designated 80,000 square foot gravel area for equipment storage. So this is a design review meeting. It provides the applicant the opportunity to come before the board. And it has been noticed publicly to abutters to present their concept to us. And we can talk specifically about the concept, any concerns that the board may have, any questions that the applicant has for the board before they actually submit an application for this site plan review. So I will turn it over to the applicant who is here representing the applicant.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is John Lorden with Ty and Bond, here today representing the applicants Rob McGinnis and who work with Seacoast Pool Plastering. If I could take a second, I'd like to share my screen so I can pull up a color version. You able to see that?
Yes, thank you.
Very good. So this is the same plan that you have in front of you that we submitted, but it's just a color version to help walk through it a little bit. What we're proposing to do is combine, this is a combination of two lots. So we're looking to combine the two lots into a single 8.4 acre lot. The addresses of the two lots are 446 and 450 Wadley Falls Road. We are in the B3 zoning district and also the Aquifer Protection Overlay District. What's proposed is to provide a 6,000 square foot building. It's a combination of 1,000 square feet of office and about 5,000 square feet of warehouse. Access into the site is proposed to be off of Wadley Falls Road. You can see the difference in the pavement. This lighter pavement, this currently exists. There's a driveway that comes in and up over to a culvert crossing. And what we're proposing to do is to extend the pavement into the site through the driveway, provide 14 parking spaces, the building, and in addition, full build-out plan is about 80,000 square feet of a gravel parking area. That's for equipment storage, and we'll get into that description a little bit later. The site in general slopes from west to east, which is top of the page to the bottom of the page. We do have a pocket of wetlands up on this entry by the driveway. There's also a wetlands as a drainage channel, flows down, and like I said, it goes under the driveway actually in two places. And then it comes to some larger wetlands to the east, including a prime wetland. We are not proposing any direct wetland disturbance as part of this project. We do have some minimal wetland buffer disturbance, and that's just for the extension of the driveway, access into the site, and nowhere else. We do, as I said, have the Aquifer Protection District. That is this line here. We have a portion of the building in it, but the proposed parking area and the entire gravel parking area is located outside of it, as well as the proposed septic system. For drainage, as I said, this is the low end of the site, so it makes sense to have the drainage over here. It hasn't been designed yet, but we will have treatment, detention, and controlled release. The full build out of this project would require an AOT permit from New Hampshire DES. In terms of utilities, we would propose to do electric probably off of this pole to the building. Propane tanks likely for heat. Water would be by a drilled well. And as I stated before, we would have a septic system to support the offices and bathrooms. A lighting plan has not been prepared yet, but would likely be a combination of wall packs on the building and some pole mounted lights in the equipment storage area. And of course, they would all be LED dark sky compliant. I don't know if anyone was around, but in 2004, this lot was developed for True Oil. It was going to be their headquarters. There was a lot of traffic. DOT did require, because there were a lot of trucks coming down Wadley Falls Road, to add a right turn lane, which impacted these wetlands. We are not expecting that. We don't have anywhere near that type of traffic. We'd be very surprised if DOT required that, but a DOT permit is going to be part of it. It's a very low traffic generator. In addition to the driveway permit, we will need the septic system from DES, an AOT permit from DES, plan approval, and as I mentioned, a special use permit from Newmarket for disturbance within that wetland buffer. So our goal today was just really to introduce the project, get some feedback, have a conversation, show you kind of this is the full plan build out, and a lot of the conversation we'd like to do and kind of pick the board's brain a little bit is to understand how long an approval is good for. These gentlemen like to sort of build this in stages as the customers come in, start clearing more land rather than just doing this in one at a time thing. I believe that's everything I wanted to highlight. I'm going to turn it over to Rob McGinnis, and he could talk a little bit about the business, and then we'd be happy to take any questions the board might have after. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, John. Hi, everyone. Pleasure to be here. So basically what we're proposing, what our businesses would be is Seacoast Pool Plastering is a plastering business that does the finished plastering coat on the inside of a swimming pool after it's constructed and before the water is poured into the pool for use. So think about it as when you're standing in a pool and you're touching the bottom or touching the sides, you're touching the final plaster coat that gets put on before the water gets poured. So with regards to the warehouse, the office and warehouse, we're proposing is a small office space and then a warehouse just for supplies. Our supplies are very general in, basically wheelbarrows, and think about things you would need. The plaster is very similar to cement. So it's basically think about, mixing cement where you have, water and wheelbarrows and the bag of cement itself. You've got hoses, you've got hand tools, etc. So those are the primary supplies that are needed within the pool plastering business. With regards to the equipment storage business, which is a key part of this project, is that what we propose here is to offer a area for businesses to store their equipment. Think of it as trailers, backhoes, Connex boxes, things like that. So the way that we think about this business is think about your neighbors that are in construction and they're parking all of that construction gear in their residential yards, and the neighbors are complaining and the town's getting complaints that folks are parking their construction vehicles in the yard as opposed to somewhere else. Those are the exact customers we will be going after. Is someone who, they need somewhere to store all of that equipment in the wintertime, and need long-term storage. Our view is not here that, these are folks coming in and out, touching their equipment every day. It's more of a storage situation. And so, as John mentioned, what's important to us is our view on this is we would want to clear this land as we have demand for it. And so, what we would seek in our approval is that, we would not want there to be a time crunch on, you have 3 years to clear the land or 5 years to clear the land. Our goal would be to clear the land as we have demand. And if we don't have demand, then we're not going to clear the land. It's a kind of a clear as we go situation. So that's what we're up to. I actually started having conversations with Diane back in the early summer when we were looking for locations for this business. Diane and I had some great conversations. She pointed me to this Wadley Fall Road area as properly zoned for what we wanted to do. And, we reached out to the Prues and convinced them to sell the land to us. We closed on the purchase of these 2 lots back in the end of December. So we are the owners of the land, and we're super excited about getting this project and working with you folks. Really, the only other thing I'd say is that, John, my partner John, who's on the call, he and I are, we're good guys. We're good businessmen. We're not looking to give you guys a hard time. We're not looking to be cute. We're not looking to be difficult. We're very excited about setting up this business in Newmarket. We think we'll be great tenants for the town. And like I said, we're not looking to do anything other than buy the book, and we're not looking to give you guys a hard time. And in response and in return, we're not looking for you guys to hassle us and give us a hard time. We think this is a really great use for the land, and we're excited about getting it kicked off. So happy to answer any questions that anyone might have tonight or down the road.
Is there anyone from the public I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone on the Zoom call or in the town hall from the public that has any questions for the applicant or comments? I can't see whoever's on the call. So hearing none, I'll close the public comments. Anyone on the board have any questions for the applicant?
Diane, you're muted.
I'm looking for, hold on, Diane. Any board members have any comments or questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I have a question. Can we get a more zoom out view of the whole location so we get a sense where it is exactly?
Of the whole lot?
Yes.
Those are the 2 combined lots.
Okay.
Could you put up the actual draft plan that you submitted with the application?
I could, it'll take me a few minutes to log in and get the black and white version
All right.
off of my server.
That would be great, John.
Okay.
Mikal, did you have any other questions?
I just cannot visualize myself like exactly where it is, so it'd be helpful to have sort of more zoom out version of the lot.
Yeah, so this is actually located right before Ash Swamp Road, so going past the gravel pits.
Oh.
If that helps on 152.
I can pull up an aerial as soon as I get this other plan done too.
Okay, while John's doing that, any other board members with any questions or comments? Okay, so question for John or the applicant. So when you bring the plan up, the concept plan that you had submitted, or the design plan, it doesn't show any final grades. I'm assuming from what I'm looking at, there's some pretty significant gravel coming out of here. On this plan, it shows, basically like a 10 to 30 foot differential in grades. Can you explain that
Sure.
as far as what you're proposing to excavate?
It's opening now. So yes, this base file does have some existing grades in the background. And the reason that we don't have parking in this area is we've done a very rough start of a grading plan. So there's going to be some grade changes in here. This kind of slope down here, a chunk of that'll come out. And then this will slope down into that parking area. But short of having almost a tiered second section up there, that'll likely slope down to it. So we have not run calculations. We haven't finalized the grading to find out
Okay.
what's
That would
coming
be
out of
on the
there.
application.
If it is gravel.
But what I would say is that other than that area in the top right that John was just pointing to, it's a relatively flat lot other than up in that top corner.
Okay, thank you. And then another question, as far as your, the supplies that are stored in the warehouse, have you looked at the restrictions in the aquifer protection zone as to materials that cannot be within that zone? And do you know if all of the chemical makeups of your materials comply with that?
Yeah, we believe they do because there's really no chemicals. I mean, it's really simply, think about it as cement, right? Which is really sand and gravel. I mean, there's not, we don't use, there's really no chemicals or liquids or things like that would be stored at this site. It's mostly, think about it as bags of cement and a lot of hand tools.
There's no hardeners or paints or anything like that?
No.
Right. Diane, did you have any comments or questions? You need to unmute.
I wanted to point out that there is a member of the public, one of the abutters is here in attendance. I didn't know if he had any comments. The next door abutter is present. I just wanted you to be aware of that. I do have a couple of questions that I'd like to ask. Is this going to require an alteration of terrain permit from DES?
Yes, the full build out of this scenario would require AOT permitting.
Okay. Secondly, could you point out for us where the wetlands impact is that the wetland buffer impact that you mentioned in your presentation, John?
Yep, it's just this driveway, so it's access into the site through here. So this line, it might be easier to see on this. So this is the buffer. So this section of pavement in here.
Okay, so that would require a special exception, I believe.
Special
or
use permit.
Special use permit, forgive me. And I just wanted to, make sure that, you were aware of that and that we would need additional documentation on that.
Yes.
And let's see, I have one
And
other,
Diane, I would just say on this piece, this light gray piece is already there. That was already constructed. So it's really just this dark gray piece adding onto it, but the light gray is existing today. And I think that was part of the approval that Crew got back in the mid-2000s.
okay, I just wanted to point that out. I have another question. You mentioned the mixing of materials with respect to the preparation for the pool activity. Is that something that will be interior to the site as opposed to outside the site?
Yeah, that wouldn't
Inside
even
the building?
at the site. That all of that activity happens at the actual location where the pool is. So none of that would get mixed at this site.
I see. Okay, very good. Thank you. And I also had a question on the materials. We usually ask for a material list, and that's something that's required under our MS4 permit for EPA, just so that you would be aware of that. And I think that was you did ask about how long is the permit good for, and we can talk a little bit about what we have on the books for vesting. Typically, if a project, we work with the applicant to define what is substantial development and what triggers protection for you from any changes in zoning going forward. And we work with you to identify infrastructure improvements that would be done within that 24-month period to get you to that point. I don't know if DES has phasing requirements for their approvals, but I wanted you to be aware that they may have some as well. But we can talk about the phasing plan if you so desire. And one other last point I wanted to make is part of why this area has worked so well is because there is a buffer requirement, and it has to be maintained, a 75-foot setback requirement off of Wadley Falls Road, Route 152. And if you look at the uses that are there now, they're, for the most part, they're screened from the road. And that's been a very effective way of, by keeping the buffers in place. And I hope as we go forward and you consider your landscaping plan, that there is consideration given to maintaining the existing vegetation that's there so that it can be, a buffer can be provided from the street.
Yeah, what I would say to that, Diane, is that's one of the reasons why John and I really like this piece of land, is because for that very reason. So there's a lot of privacy, there's fencing and things like that. So we very much were attracted to the location because of that.
Good. Okay. I just wanted to reinforce that idea. Thank you very much for answering my questions.
Thank you.
I'm going to reopen the public hearing. Who's the member of the public that's here?
It's Taylor Brenner.
Yeah,
Taylor, do you
Brinzer.
have Taylor, any
Brinzer.
questions for the applicant?
Yeah,
Or the board?
I just joined recently to the meeting. Where is the signage on the plan? Out front along the road?
That location has not been determined yet.
Okay.
And Taylor, just for your knowledge, this is considered design review, so it gives the applicant the ability to ask questions, see what the board, when they come in with a full site plan application, all the abutters get re-notified. And then at that point, they would have complete plans for what they're proposing, detailed plans, signage, grading.
Yeah.
things.
I think I've been there for, I don't know, 3.5 years. And that site easement is so important to be maintained. Since 8.5 acre parcel next to me has been vacant, I've had to maintain in front of that as well. The state doesn't do anything, just so that we can pull out of the driveway safely. I would just want to tell the new owner that they're definitely going to need to maintain that for both of our safety.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Brinson, for that. When we work with New Hampshire DOT, they're going to require us to show sight lines for both directions for the driveway permit. And in that, I'm
Yeah,
suspecting.
I
they'll
think
have us-
your property is a lot safer to take a left and take a right out of. But I rely on your site easement just as much as I do mine. So,
Okay.
but I'm excited for to eventually have a neighbor. That's for sure.
Okay. Anything further, Taylor?
No.
Okay, and I will reclose the public hearing. Any other comments from the board at this point, or does the applicant have any questions for the board?
No, maybe if it would be helpful for John and I, if you guys could maybe give us just a sense of and process from here. Obviously, we need to get our final documents together and plans and submitted to you. But once we do that, can you guys just give us a sense of the step procedures from there?
Diane, you can work with Diane on timing as far as the completeness of the application. Diane will determine whether or not the application is complete. She'll make a recommendation to the board to accept it. Unlike other planning boards, we may actually hear the application the same night as accepted, as opposed to delaying it to the next meeting. So you'll typically be heard that night as long as the application is complete. And the town planner will review that with you.
Okay.
And then from there, it will depend whether or not the planning board wants to have a technical review committee established. The town engineer will review the plan and submit comments as well. So we can't really give you an actual timing as to, being before the board and when you would anticipate an approval. Much of it's going to be depending on what you submit in your application as far as how complete it is and how consistent it is with the zoning, with the regulations, site plan and zoning. And if you're looking for any waivers, you want to get those before the board fairly early on. There's no specific process. The process is review the application, potentially have a site walk with the board, and then get before a TRC. And then town engineering review, and Diane can go over all that with you.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
We endeavor to do our best to facilitate applications before this board.
Great. Thank you. Very helpful.
I have a question for you guys. Does anyone oppose for me to move my equipment in there right now? Because I've been waiting this long for this meeting to ask special permission to move all of my equipment into the property.
That would be a question you need to address to Diane and the code enforcement officer. So that's not a planning board decision. Diane, you can take that offline. You could deal directly with Diane and Mike Hoffman on that. It's not a planning board item for
Okay.
discussion. Okay,
Thank you.
welcome.
I have one last question. Would the board or the town be looking for a phasing plan, like a detailed plan showing how we're looking to build this out? Or is it just, something that we could either do in just written text or a discussion?
I think we would be looking at what you are proposing and then getting the input from our engineer and our town planner as to, how that would be consistent with our regulations.
Okay.
And I think it would be helpful to have a visual of the phasing, and that might be tied into our whole discussion of vesting going forward and will be outlined in the developers agreement. So, we're willing to work with you on that. So be prepared to present something to the TRC when we get to that point, and we can review it at that juncture and make modifications as necessary.
And I think it might be helpful to know that a lot of what we'll be looking at is stormwater management,
Mm-hmm.
and
e-
stabilization of
Yep.
the site.
And even though the building and some of the site is out of the aquifer protection area, we're still governed by MS4, and there still are thresholds in our stormwater regulations for various requirements for best management practices. And so I don't want you to be of the impression that we're not going to look at those things, but that most definitely is going to be part of your AOT application as well. And you probably know that because you've worked on these before. Thanks.
Well, and especially you have to be conscientious if you're storing equipment. Obviously, the equipment's, particularly construction equipment, is going to have gas, oil, diesel, you know, when you're right adjacent to the aquifer zone. So that's going to be looked at pretty, you know, specifically.
Yep, understood.
In other sites in that vicinity, we have required some kind of a containment area for any runoff that might have potential contaminants that might affect, even though that it's not directly in the aquifer, it's still close enough that it's something that would be of concern.
Okay, I think we're all set at this point on this application. Everyone's got their questions answered at this point. Okay, well, we definitely look forward to seeing an application before us. Well, you know, I want to welcome you to town, and obviously want to work together to make sure that you're successful, as well as our duties to protect the interests of the town. So we'll look forward to seeing you before us again soon.
Great. Well, thank you guys. Really appreciate
you.
the time and the feedback, and we'll be back in short order, but we're excited and we appreciate all the great feedback. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Rob. Thank you, John, and
Yep, thank you all.
John and your team.
Okay, bye.
This is old or new business? Any old business before the board? Diane?
Just that I did forward to the town council, Tony and Scott, a letter following up on our recommendations for the rescinding of water and sewer impact fees and replacing them with water and sewer system development charges. And I just wanted to make sure that you received that, Tony, and that that's being considered or will be on your agenda shortly. I think the board is anxious to see some activity on that. So, and that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Okay. Any new business before us? Or does anyone want to jump in? I have nothing from the chair's report. Any committee reports? Tony, Scott, anything happening at the council level that we should be aware of?
I don't think so.
Any committees or commissions meeting that anyone wants to report on? Quiet out there. We're all hibernating. So if there's no further business before us, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Not really new business, but I realized that for the December 22nd meeting minutes, I should have abstained from that vote because I was not at that meeting.
Okay, Diane, you'll make that
We'll do that.
correction.
Yep.
Oh, and I do want to, in case people aren't aware, we have Jamie and Sarah, your terms are expiring this year. And I think there's just a couple more days to re-up. So I hope that you do that.
I am willing. I don't know if I can do it from long distance. I'm not in town. And I'm not going to physically be back in town until the end of April.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to be meeting in person before then. So, and it's a 3-year term, so don't worry about that. But anyway, I just wanted to make sure in case, you know, you kind of, you know, weren't tracking that. Those, I think it's till the 29th as far as, you know, talking to Terry about signing up for the ballot. And I'm
Which is
sure, I'm assuming
Friday.
you don't have to be in person to do that. Do you, Tony? Do you know? Under the COVID guidelines?
The signing up, I'm not sure if you have to be in person or
Yeah,
not.
just-
So you would want to be in Littlefield in the clerk's office.
I'll give her a call tomorrow and see what the possibilities are.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
Yes, so now we had we were,
Oh,
I'm
just
sorry,
another thing.
Tony.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'm sorry. I just wanted to mention that our deliberative session this year is a little different. We're doing it all online, and it's just a different process. So it's not your typical town meeting process. And we're doing 2 virtual sessions. The first one is tomorrow, and the school portion starts at 6 o'clock. The town portion starts at 7 o'clock. And it's really just at that point, we're just really reading the warrant. And then the public will have an opportunity to comment over the course of the week. And there's various ways you can comment. You can comment via email. You can, I think there's going to be a designated spot where you can leave written comment. You can call in. So there's going to be options for people to be involved. And then there's going to be a second meeting next week. I believe it's the 2nd, February 2nd. That'll be the second half of the deliberative session. And that's how we're doing it this year. So and it's all because of COVID. This will be it's a one-time only type of event. So hopefully people can tune in.
Thank you. Okay, I'm still looking for that motion.
I'll move to adjourn.
Thank you, Scott. Is there a second?
That-
Jane as a second. Okay, everyone we'll see you next month. Have a great rest of the week and stay healthy and
Thank
well.
you.
You too.